This is PC747 with the neXup podcast. And I'm going to be honest with you. I struggle to even put this show together today. And it's not so much because, I've lost passion in talking about tech or it evades me. But if I'm going to be honest, I think a lot of you out there are just, as much as I love tech, I look forward to it. It's just like other things are more pressing right now. If we're to be honest, with the other side of the coronavirus now, I know the most important thing that we all want. We want everybody to get better. We all doing our part, practicing social distancing, staying at home and doing what we need to do. And trust me, we all feel that need and want to do that. Because none of us want to be the reason why someone got sick or ended up dying because we, selfishly went about our day and decided that we want to spread this sickness on to others. None of us want that. I don't want to spread that on to, family members or even someone that just going about their day. I do everything I can. When I go throughout my, trips to Walmart, picking up the essentials, I do everything I can to make sure I make way for other people and go around and do everything I can. Even when those people are not quite, wanting to practice social distance and walk towards me, I go on my way to try to move out the way to give them room because one, I don't want to get sick, and two, I don't want to be the cause of them getting sick. But the other side, if we're to be honest, is, as much as we talk about our desire for tech, our love for tech, it comes from a place of, I guess consumerism, if we be honest. We just have a desire to pick something up and see it evolve and improve. And, I look forward to seeing the latest Pixel phone, the latest iPhone, any of the latest phones and tablets and tech that come out there. Because it's really awesome to see just how far we come with tech, or if we even made any evolutions at all from the previous year. But when you really look at where we at with a lot of Americans, and I know I'm making this American because I am here in America, but if I'm going to be fair, I think a lot of people across the world, we're one of the things about being locked down and, practicing social distance and all that stuff is, because everyone's at home, you can't travel. You can't go about your day. You can't really do the things that keep the economy going. And as a result, the economy is, falling all over the world through many sectors in a way that we haven't seen for a lot of people in our lifetime. Even with something like a big event like 9/11, or we had the fuel crisis back then, it affected a small area. When I say a small area, the nation as far as America or a few sectors, but nothing on this scale have we seen. It's like every industry feeling it together all across the world, across the nation. And because of that, because even though we all hoping that we'll be back by May, the latest of June, we honestly don't know. And that fear have us really kind of focusing on other things. It's kind of hard to think about the latest phone when you worried if your employer is going to announce that they're about to lay you guys off because they got to find ways to save money. It's kind of hard to really think about picking up the new Note phone or the new OnePlus phone when you're worried about, are you going to have a job? Are you going to be able to keep the lights on? Are you going to be able to take care of this need? And because of that, I mean, the reality is consumerism is going to drop, because right now, if you're someone who's, wise about your money, you're not thinking about those things. Right now you're thinking, what can I do to conserve my finances the most? What service can I cut off? What can I do without? Because if we be real, it's kind of hard to really look forward and look after something that you're not going to be able to pick up. And I fall in that category. Up until this point, man, I was looking forward to the OnePlus 8 Pro. That was a phone I couldn't wait to check out. Excited about it. And now, if I'm being fair, I can't even look at the pictures or look at the descriptions of it, because, man, this is a phone that, as much as I look forward to it, it can't be in my horizon right now. It can't be the thing I'm focused on right now. And because of that, it's not like I lost passion for it. It's just the reality is that in this current landscape, it's hard to really just find a way to just pick that up and talk about it with excitement. Not when, every time we turn the news on, we're hearing about, more issues with the corona here, or more people dying, ways to, how are we going to keep people able to eat until we get through it? See, when you worry about just trying to find a way to eat, you're not thinking about what phone you have. You're not thinking about the latest gadget. You don't care right now. You're just looking at what we're going to need to do to preserve our life until we get through this moment. And that's the challenge, honestly, that I think a lot of us face right now. If I'm going to be real. Who cares about the latest iPhone when, the only thing you're concerned about is, when is this all going to be over? When you're trying to go through all the paperwork or go online to fill out your unemployment information because, you're trying to get something coming in to make sure you can feed your family next month. When that happens, it's kind of hard to get excited about tech. It really is. It's not that you don't love tech. It just, you realize that more things are going on. You're going on Amazon not to look for this new gadget, but, now I guess for people looking for bandanas or scarves to put around their faces so they can go out and about. This is the reality right now. A reality that none of us saw coming at the beginning of the year. When I was writing articles and doing podcasts talking about the phones I was looking forward to this year, what I want to see, change in tech. This wasn't in the cards. It wasn't in the cards at all. I never thought I'd be sitting right here at this moment on a Saturday evening or a Friday evening. Just, honestly, I'm being real about it, but just finding myself just, wondering what is next, like all of you. Now, am I to the point where I'm so disheartened where I've lost faith? Nah, for me personally, I have my faith in something more solid than finances or other things, but it do change my whole perspective on just life in general. It remind me that at the end of the day, as much as we have this love for, just our gadgets, our things that, we love seeing going forward, it's just, there are things that are just more important. But in being real, I think I found some strength to say, hey man, I need to realize I'm not alone in this. And because I know I'm not. Across the nation, we all basically stuck in, having to endure this, looking for hope and looking for some sign of relief, man. I think we all turn into the press conference every day hoping that someone would say we found a cure today. No matter how you feel about the current administration, I think for a lot of us, we put that aside right now. We really care about getting back to what we were doing before all this. We look forward to that. And as much as, I love talking about something like the OnePlus 8 and the Pixel 5 and all this other stuff. And I am going to share my thoughts on that, but it's just kind of hard to really have that same excitement when, the reality is when the OnePlus 8 Pro becomes available for buying, I can't look at buying it. Because it'd be foolish to go out there and spend that type of money for that phone at this current time. Unless you, like I said again, you so well off where spending for money on the phone is not going to hurt you. But I think for everyone, unless, like I said, you are rich, you're, sitting on stacks on top of stacks. But for the most people that are in the tech that listen to podcasts like this, I think a lot of us, we're in that area where we find ourselves at home, wondering when the factories, when the job, wherever we go each day to earn our living, when that's going to be able to get back going and when we're going to be able to start seeing production get back. I mean, I think a lot of us, we appreciate the rest, but we don't like the anxiety that comes with it. But that's just some real talk, because I think sometimes that needs to be said when, we look around, we see a lot of the people talking the technology that's doing unboxing. And I'm not bashing any of them. That they got to make a living too. They got to do their thing. They got to still have that love for tech. And I'm glad that it all out there still doing it. It's kind of hard for me to just at times look at that with the same excitement I did before all this. But real quick though, now that we got that out of the way, I really want to talk about the Pixel 5 real quick because we've been seeing rumors about it. And the reason why I want to talk about it because, for a while I've been bashing, Google and their Pixel approach. I felt like they really haven't done what they could with it. And what I mean by that is this. So when you heard me say this a number of times, where they came from the neXup line and became the Pixel was supposed to be a flagship line that could truly compete with the iPhone and the Galaxy. And for each Pixel, they failed to live up with that. And it got to the point with the last Pixel 4, it's like, I think for a lot of us, we've all just kind of threw our hands up. We're like, we're kind of done with you. So rumors have that the Pixel 5 may be coming out with a 765 processor versus the 865. Meaning this phone could be a mid-tier phone. Now, I wrote about this on my blog because I felt like there's a part of me that's glad that this is happening, but there's another part of me that's not. So let's talk about the part that's glad. And the reason why I'm glad they're going this route is because we've been saying this for a while. The current Pixel phone that we're putting out there it was not flagship level. Not when you have other companies out there, like I said, other smaller manufacturers that was coming up the ranks that were just walking past you, running past you with their phones that were considered mid-tier or lower flagship. And yet they were beating you guys. And it wasn't that because Google didn't have the resources. It was because, for a lot of us, we felt like they were just being naive or just being stubborn, feeling that This is the phone we're going to put out there, and either they're going to take it or they're going to leave it. And people just kept leaving it, outside of the hardcore Pixel fans. So I feel like they're kind of being real about who they are. And I think if they're not going to truly come out and give us a true flagship phone, then they might as well just go ahead and go back to the next line of thinking, where you give us a phone that is really a mid-tier phone, mid-tier price, but have enough flagship specs to give you, we'll feel like you're getting a value, which is what we love so much about Nexus phones. Nexus phones, it was pretty much a flagship phone, but they was cutting corners here and there just to give you a phone that was priced just right. And in this current environment right now, even when we get things back and get back things going and the economy start picking up, I think it'll be a little bit before we can get back running again. So people are going to be kind of pushing back from these $1,000 phones. And this is where having, quote, a Nexus line or a Nexus type phone can be very beneficial right now. And Google could actually come out ahead, because if you can get a phone with a great camera like the Pixel, great software support, hardware that at the end of the day is pretty good, it performs pretty well, but it's priced around a $600-700 phone or $600-700 range, but feels like a flagship on every level. You won't quite feel so upset about a phone that is on that level, that is with those specs. You'll be more okay with the fact that, all right, this phone could have around 10 gigabytes of RAM, but, they only gave us 6 or 8 or whatever. We can go with that. Or instead of matching what the other manufacturers are putting out there and giving us this 256 there, capped at 128. We'll be more okay with that, because we were like, okay, we're getting that because we're saving on price. But this is where I'm kind of disappointed, or the negative side is I really wanted a flagship Pixel. And I say a real flagship Pixel. I would listen to Droid Life today. I actually enjoy listening to their podcast that they do every day, or not every day, but weekly for the most part. And they would bringing up the LG, and they kind of brought up a point, or hint at a point that when you look at where LG is at now, it's like we no longer really have that much competition at the flagship level as far as Android, especially here in the States. Because when you take out Samsung, who else do you have? I mean, OnePlus now is pretty much considered that. But when you look at where we were a decade ago, we had HTC, LG, Motorola. OnePlus wasn't even in a picture. You had this competition going on. Then you had, Sony coming in there. And just a number of options where there was this push to make each other better. We don't have that anymore, if you be honest. Motorola basically bowed out of the flagship market a long time ago, concentrating more on a mid-tier and lower level. LG, they're still considered on a flagship category, but no one's taking them really serious. HTC is gone. We haven't really heard from them at all. So it's like, who do you have other than Samsung? And Samsung just running away with it. It's not even close. And if you're someone who is wanting something other than a Samsung Android phone that is considered good or worth buying, who do you go to as far as manufacturers here in the States? Huawei didn't have the ban they had against them. You can maybe say, I guess maybe we can start giving Huawei a shot. But they're out of the picture. I even commented on Droid Life's podcast today saying, I miss HTC right now. We can really use that quality brilliant. We can really use some competition right now in the Android landscape. So not having a Pixel phone that's competing in a flagship arena, it's just really a problem for me. and really a problem for competition, really a problem for Android. And this is where Google really needs to step up and take leadership right now. So, yeah, this is partly why I look at the rumor for the Pixel 5 and, in a way I kind of hope it's not true, but the reality, I believe it's going to be true. Because a lot of times when, we get these rumors about the Pixel phones this early or around this time, it ended up being pretty close or very accurate. So I'm preparing for us to get a mid-tier spec Pixel 5. And so it's like, man, if you're still on Android and you're like, man, I don't like Samsung, I don't know where to tell you to go. I'm almost, kind of contemplating, because I'm someone who really about software support, updates, and all that stuff. And there was a part of me for a minute that even thought about, you know what, I'm done. I'm ready to go to the iPhone and just put all Android apps on it and then make it my new phone. Now, at the end of the day, I don't think I'm doing it anytime soon. You got to love Android, the whole, software and all that. But, man, how long before that ended up being an approach for a number of us? And as much as I said, I'll never make that choice, I remember saying back in the day, I would never buy a phone that couldn't be rooted. And I also remember saying I would never go without a phone being rooted. And I've been going over, 5-6 years now, probably longer, with a phone that hasn't been rooted. So if we continue down this same trend where, the Pixel phones are lackluster, we're not getting the kind of flagship specs and competition, and Samsung, I've never been a big fan of Samsung as far as using their phones, because of me being a person who's about quality software updates on time and all that stuff. Man, I wonder if I want to find myself crossing the fence, looking at the fruit. I mean, that may be a big step right there. But then again, maybe it may cause Samsung to make a change, but we'll see. Real quick, T-Mobile. We all heard about a T-Mobile Sprint. They're finally won. It's official. That's another thing I talked about on my blog, and I'm actually curious to see if they actually keep up with their promise, if we're going to actually see this live up to what we hope it do. But hey, right now, the change is basically going to be coming soon. Mike Seaver, he's going to be the person in charge. Our buddy Laguerre is going to be done, and I'm kind of wondering if that's going to result in seeing the change, as far as the T-Mobile, the mindset, and this whole Un-carrier plan. Is that going to result in all that going away and them becoming the carrier, or as I wrote in my blog, end up seeing themselves becoming the villain, becoming the carrier that they talk so much about? Or are they going to turn into them now that they're bigger? We'll see. But yeah, that's officially done, and we'll be talking about that in the future. But before I kind of sign out real quick, because this is going to be a short show. I ended up using Instacart the other day, and I kind of want to talk about that. So I'm out here on TDY, and I'm kind of stuck in a hotel in Houston. So the city's pretty much on lockdown. And, the hotel I'm at has like a very small refrigerator. So, I'm someone who like to get a lot of, some fruits and some vegetables in, but it's been a challenge to do that with this current area I'm on, or the current situation I have. So, one thing I was looking at trying to do, was obviously after a couple of days, look at Instacart to maybe or to replenish some fruits and some vegetables in between. So I actually went on Instacart, and to be honest with you, the whole process is pretty simple. And, the whole idea is actually pretty cool, for someone who can't get out. It's definitely a a good idea, a good choice to kind of have, but I did have some concerns before I used it. I've always said one of the reasons I would steer clear of apps and programs and stuff like that that shop for me was because I was concerned that, when it comes to shopping, everyone have their own preferences, especially when it comes to food. What I consider the area of ripeness and freshness and all that stuff may be totally different from someone else. I may prefer something a little bit on the riper side, let's say like something like a banana or something like that, or some other fruits I prefer to be closer to, not so ripe, So this is something that, again, I was always concerned about. When you send someone out there to shop for you, what are they picking? Are they grabbing the first thing they see? Are they taking the time to really feel the fruits and check out the produce to make sure that they give you the freshest thing that they can pick up? And then you got to also look at other factors because, the person that actually delivered my stuff, she had her kids with her. So if you got kids in the store, you're trying to shop and, kids are already grabbing everything. They doing this and that. You're trying to get it done. You may not take the extra 2 or 3 seconds to check this out or do that. So, and that basically what I, will say with the whole Instacart thing. Now, for the most part, when I got my stuff, and I ended up giving her, 5-star because for the most part, she did do a good job. The apples were pretty decent. I picked up some apples. I did some salad dress. I did some cucumbers. What I did? Some popcorn, some stuff like that. So everything else was pretty much right on, But I did notice a couple of cucumbers were a little bit on the, basically I had to throw them away. It just wasn't good at all. But like I said, again, for the most part, she did a pretty good job. And that was kind of my concern when it comes to something like Instacart, though. I'm someone who, even though it's a decent service and I probably wouldn't mind using it for something like box service, like something like cereal or something that's just going to be in a box, I'm cool with that. But when it comes to fruit or something like that, I think that's something more where I think that's going to have to be left for me to choose. Because, I want to make sure I'm taking the extra time to make sure this cucumber going to last. Because again, that person may not know why I'm buying a cucumber. They may be thinking I'm about to cut up for a salad right now, where the reality is I'm looking for that cucumber to last 3 or 4 days. So I want something that's not going to, be soft in the middle or soft in the corners that, it's not going to make it. So those are the things that for me, that is very, very important. And where Instacart just, it means I have to rely so much on the other person that's doing the shopping for me, and I'd rather just do it myself. Now, as far as the service itself, like I said, would I recommend it for someone like my, like a grandmother or someone who just can't get out of the house? If they can't get out, that's the choice they have, and I see it for them, and it makes sense. But I just don't feel like you can put a price on being able to get out and check out the stuff yourself. But anyway, that's all I have for the neXup podcast. And, for this short show, it's kind of weird for me doing like a evening podcast. But, hey, man, I just kind of wanted to get some stuff off my chest and be real with you. That's kind of how I started the show. And, yeah, I talked some stuff about the Pixel 5 because, even though, we all going through the period, I still have a large part of me that still have interest in these devices. I kind of still want to see the trajectory, even though I think for right now, for the most part, I think I'm mainly looking forward to next year's phone because I'm hoping that, by that point, we're beyond this point and, we kind of see what happens there. And I also wondering, to kind of see how these phones kind of shape out now that we're in this landscape. What Apple going to do with the new iPhone? What we going to see happen with some of these phones coming out? Because, when you look at the reality that they're just people like me who have more concerns other than phones. We're looking at trying to conserve money when we can't go out there and just go throw money away like that. It's just going to mean that, all right, we be better off delaying the release of the phone, because if you release a phone right now and people are not going out there spending money like that, it's going to sit on the shelf. And, a phone that sits on the shelf and just, collecting dust is going to drop, and you're not going to be able to command the same same type of profit that you're looking for. And something like, again, OnePlus, even though they serve more than just the American market. This issue is a global pandemic. So with everyone basically sitting at the house and not really able to spend money like that, there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna be like, look, I'm not gonna be into buying a phone right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what this do with these phone manufacturers and how it would shift their release, factor or their release schedule, and what's going to change on that end. Now Apple, I think they're in a good location right now, or a good position right now, because with the iPhone released in the fall, they have more than enough time to see if they're going to bounce back and they can go ahead and release that. But if not, they're going to probably just kind of push off or back off and kind of react to the market in general. With a lot of events being pushed back to around the late summer, fall, even to next year. I think a lot of people are kind of hoping around that period if they start picking back up. And Apple their iPhone being released in the fall, I guess they're like, wait, we're in a perfect spot at that point. If the market picks back up, people back out, people back buying, one of the first things they may want to do is pick up an iPhone. So, they may be in a good spot right there. But anyway, that's all I got for the neXup podcast. Guys, you all have a good week, good evening. Stay safe, wash your hands. Definitely practice social distancing. I'm out.